Hello, I'm Dr. Sarah Singer, Senior Lecturer in Refugee Law at the University of London's Refugee Law Initiative, and I've been leading research under the RECAP project on humanitarian protection and accountability to refugees and displaced persons in crisis contexts. So why is this important? Well, principally, the very legitimacy of humanitarian organisations rests on them appropriately supporting and responding to the needs of those they serve, and listening to the voices of refugees and affected populations, and as a next step, actually involving them in shaping the humanitarian response is really crucial to ensuring that humanitarian activities are effective and appropriate for the contexts we're working in. And this was shown most starkly with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, where populations have rapidly changing needs and circumstances, and at the same time, health-related restrictions can pose an enormous obstacles to humanitarian actors engaging with the populations they serve. So as part of our research, we collaborated with two major international NGOs, Save the Children and the International Rescue Committee, and we focused on the impact of COVID-19 in two very different contexts. Bangladesh, including the response to the Rohingya refugee crisis, and Uganda, a long-standing host of large numbers of refugees in settlements. And we looked at the impact of COVID-19 on their accountability initiatives and how these could be strengthened for future pandemic contexts, or indeed in ordinary times too. And what are some of the key things we learned from this research? Well, firstly, adapting communication strategies is vital. This is not only in relation to risk messaging around COVID-19 itself, but finding new and different ways to communicate with refugees when ordinary communications channels may have broken down. So we saw organisations expanding their use of different communication formats. We saw a change in approach of staff themselves, taking a much more proactive approach to reaching out to communities. We saw rumour tracking initiatives, particularly around COVID-19 information. And relatedly, we saw significantly increased working with volunteers and refugees and community leaders. So where humanitarian staff were unable to go into the field due to restrictions on movement, these volunteers and leaders formed a really vital link to hearing from and cascading messages to communities. And finally, we saw the need for organisations themselves to work towards fostering a staff culture which ensures a greater receptiveness to humanitarian accountability activities, to ensure that everyone sees it as a core part of their role and worthy of the attention and time that it deserves. So you can find reports of our case studies, the radio podcasts that we've developed for refugees, and our guidelines for humanitarian practitioners available on the RECAP website. And we'll soon be launching a freely accessible online course on humanitarian accountability in crisis contexts. So stay tuned for more. Thank you.